Chapter 1, The Sound of the Falls. Long before Kaya could see the waterfalls on the river ahead, she began to hear their voices. She and her family were riding over hot, dry plains, so the murmur of running water was a sweet promise. But as they rode closer to the river, that murmur grew into a powerful song, like many men drumming. When the riders crested the last hill and looked down at the shining river, Kaya saw the falls plunging over black cliffs. Even at this distance, the falls roared like thunder. The earth seemed to tremble. Kaya's little brother Wingfeather was seated behind Kaya on the chestnut horse. He held her tightly around the waist. Is that a monster roaring? He asked in a small voice. Kaya patted his leg. That's the sound of the falls you hear, she said. Remember when we stayed here last summer? Remember how you and Sparrow played all day with your cousins, and there were games and races every night? And remember how many salmon gave themselves to all the fishermen? Wingfeather only hugged her more tightly, one hand tucked into his baby moccasin. Kaya knew he was trying to be strong, but the roar of Celilo Falls frightened many children. The water sounds angry, Sparrow said. He was running behind Kaya's older sister, Brown Deer. But the river's our friend, and you'll soon get used to its roar, Brown Deer said. Her voice was calm, but her cheeks were flushed with excitement. Kaya knew her sister was eager to meet family and friends here at the falls. Brown Deer would also meet Kutchik again, whom she hoped to marry. Kaya's father, who rode ahead, signaled for everyone to halt before beginning the steep descent from the bluffs into the valley. He and other men and women dismounted and began checking the heavy packs to make sure they were tied tightly and wouldn't slip and injure a horse or a rider. Kaya dismounted and gazed down at the vast river valley. Stony islands clustered in the river, white water sweeping around them. Kaya saw large horse herds grazing on the flatlands. Many fishing platforms of sticks lashed together had been built out over the water. Hundreds of teepees and lodges lined both shores as far upstream and downstream as she could see. The villages were those of many different peoples, some who lived on the river all year and others who visited from the plains, the mountains, and the ocean to fish and trade. Kaya's band and many other bands of Nimipu were joining them for the yearly return of salmon of the big river. Kaya shaded her eyes and peered at the mist that rose like thick smoke from the waterfalls. She saw bright rainbows arching low over the falls, and her heart lifted. Rainbows were good signs. She hoped to meet up with her friend Two Hawks here at the falls. He'd said that when they met again, he might have good news of Kaya's sister Speaking Rain. When she and Two Hawks had escaped from their enemies, they had to leave Speaking Rain behind. But Kaya knew that Two Hawks might be bringing bad news instead. He might have learned that Speaking Rain had been abandoned by their captors, or injured, or lost. For how could a blind girl get along without someone to care for her? As if Talos sensed Kaya's troubled thoughts, the pup bounded up to her, his pink tongue hanging out. He was growing fast, and his legs were getting long. Kaya bent and put her face against his soft ear. "You'll help me find my sister, won't you?" she whispered to him. He licked her hand, his tail wagging in circles, as if he were saying, "I'll try." Kaya's grandmother climbed off her horse and began adjusting the travois on a pack horse. When Kausa saw the twins' worried frowns, her lined face softened. The falls are hissing and raging, boys, she said, but that's because they're so steep and so wide. Don't you remember how Coyote made them for us? She turned to Kaya. Would you comfort your brothers with that story while I fix this travois? Kaya said quickly. Each day she reminded herself to do her very best. She wanted to be trustworthy like her friend Swan Circling, the warrior woman who'd given Kaya her name to use when she was older. Wingfeather and Sparrow slid off the horses. Tell about Coyote, Sparrow begged her. Tell about his tricks, Wingfeather added. Everyone loves stories about Coyote, who was always playing tricks and teaching lessons at the same time. Kaya sat with the twins on Travois and Tatlo, panting, laid down in the shade at their feet. One day, Coyote was coming up the river, she began, and in those long ago days, the river was calm because the river people had dammed it up. They wanted to keep all the salmon for themselves. Coyote was hot and tired like we are, and he decided to swim in the cool water. He swam around until he saw 5 beautiful river girls on the shore. He saw a chance to play a trick on the river people, so he turned himself into a baby and came floating over the water toward the girls. I remember what Coyote did then, Wing Feather cried. He bawled like a baby, wah, wah, to get the girls' attention. Kaya said. He cried, and the girls quickly swam out to pull him from the water. What a precious baby, they said. But the youngest sister wasn't fooled. Watch out, she said. That's no baby, that's Coyote. The baby put out his lower lip as if he was about to cry again. Don't tease him, the other girl said. Let's take him home with us. The girls fed the baby and took care of him, and he grew fast. One day he spilled a cup of water. Give me more water, he demanded. The youngest sister, who still didn't trust the baby, said, let's make him get water himself. So the baby began to crawl toward the river. When he was out of sight, he jumped up and ran. He certainly moves fast, one of the girls said. The youngest sister said, that's because he's Coyote. I know what happened next, Sparrow cried. Coyote broke down the fish dam that the river people had made. Coyote swam up to their fish dam and tore it down, pulling out all the stones so the water rushed free over the falls. Kaya continued. He jumped up and down on the stones and shouted gleefully, look, your fish dam is broken. The girls saw that it was so. The youngest sister said, I told you he was Coyote. Coyote said to them, you selfishly kept all the salmon behind your dam, but now the salmon will be able to swim upstream to spawn. People will be happy because they can catch the fish, and they'll thank me for giving them food. And that's how Celilo Falls came to be, and why salmon can swim up all the rivers and streams now, Kaya finished. Did Coyote really make those waterfalls? Sparrow asked, pointing at the water rushing over black stones. Because he was thinking about the story, he was no longer frightened. You can see for yourself but the fish dam's not there anymore. Kaya said with a smile, and who else but Coyote could have knocked it down so that the salmon could swim upstream? She scratched Tatlo behind his ears and gazed at the distant hills across the river. Would Two Hawks and his people soon be riding over those hills? Would she be strong no matter what news he brought of Speaking Rain? And what of her beloved horse, which she discovered steps high in one of the many horse herds here at the falls? Katsi Yaya for telling the story, Kautsa cried. Come along now. We're ready to move on. After Kaya and the others greeted friends and relatives, the women set up their teepees and unpacked their goods. Then Itza gave Kaya permission to join the other girls, all of whom were like cousins to her. Some girls had gathered on a flat stretch of ground to play a stickball game called Shinny. They'd formed 2 teams and were chasing a rawhide ball, hitting it to each other with curved sticks. As Kaya walked up, several of the girls waved to her. Play on our side, Kaya, Little Fawn called to her. You're a fast runner. Play on our side, Rabbit called. Magpies fly fast. Magpie again. As Kaya picked up a shitty stick, she tried to shrug off that awful nickname she'd gotten when she had neglected her brothers and all the children had been switched because of her forgetfulness. And as soon as she was running down the field with the others, she forgot about everything except the game. The girls batted the ball and passed it to each other, trying to hit it between 2 branches stuck in the ground at each end of the playing field. Some dogs, barking wildly, ran along with them. Little Fawn knocked the ball to Kaya, and she raced down the field with it. Tatlo right at her heels. But when other girls charged after Kaya, Talo got caught in the middle of the action. Someone stepped on his paw, and with a yelp, he tumbled head over heels. Kaya stopped playing and led her pup to the sidelines. Rabbit was there, tying her moccasins more tightly. "Toss me wee, cousin," she greeted Kaya. Little Fawn knocked the ball to Kaya, and she raced down the field with it, Talo right at her heels. "Tots may we. Have you been here at the river long?" Kaya stroked Talo's ears as she caught her breath. "Not long," Rabbit said. "Only for 2 sleeps. I want to find 2 hawks," Kaya said. "Have you seen him?" "Raven went looking for him yesterday," Rabbit said. "He told us Salish people have come here yet, but don't always make the long journey, you know." "I know," Kaya admitted. 2 hawks had given his promise, but his people might have made different plans. His heart sank when she thought that he might not be able to bring her news of Speaking Rain after all. "Your pup runs fast," Rabbit said, holding out her hand for Talo to sniff. "But I think his rear legs run faster than his front legs." Kaya said. "I'm going to tie him by our teepee so he won't get trampled." "Come back quickly," Rabbit called after her. When Kaya approached her teepee, an elderly gray-haired woman Kaya didn't recognize was carrying her belongings inside. Brown Deer knelt by Travois, untying more rolls of tule mats. She begged for Kaya to come close. "Cutcheek's parents have sent one of his aunts to live with us for a while," she said in a low voice. "Crane Song's here to make sure I'm a strong worker and will make a good wife for Cutcheek." She looked pleased, but she seemed nervous as well. "Everyone knows you're a strong worker," Kaya assured her sister, who was so dutiful and so good. Brown Deer shook her head. "A woman has to prove her worth," she said softly. "You'll be a fine wife for Cutcheek. His aunt will see that right away," Kaya insisted. She tied one end of a piece of cord around Talo's neck and the other end to one of the teepee stakes. Brown Deer frowned. "Tie Talo farther away, will you? Sometimes he chews on the teepee coverings, and I won't have time to look after him." Kaya led Talo to a stack of teepee poles and tied him there. He sat with his ears drooping, whining as if he were being punished. "Kati-yow-yow, Kaya," Brown Deer said gratefully. She picked up the mats and hurried into the teepee, where Crane Song waited for her. Kaya patted Talo on his rump. "Don't whine," she told him. "I'll be back for you soon." At the beginning of each new run of salmon, everyone honored and thanked the fish for the feast. Kauta and the other women built big, slow-burning fires to roast the salmon. While the fish cooked under the open sky, the women spread rows of tule mats down the center of a lodge large enough to seat all their family and friends. Kaya stood with the other girls and women across for the men and boys while her grandfather led them in prayer. "Hunya Wat made this earth," Pilaka said. "He made all living things on the earth, in the water, and in the sky. He made Nimipu and all peoples. He created food for all his creatures. We respect to give thanks for his creations." All the people took a sip of water to purify their bodies before they accepted the gifts from the Creator. After everyone had taken a sip of the cold river water, each person took a tiny bite of salmon, giving thanks before beginning the rest of the meal. The men and boys stirred the roasted meat bait provided. The women and girls brought forward the foods they gathered. With the others, Kaya placed bowls filled with roots and berries on the mats. Then the women brought large wooden bowls of the cooked salmon into the lodge. Kaya watched Brown Deer moving quickly and quietly along the mats. It was a great honor to feed the others, and Brown Deer kept her eyes downcast even when she offered Cutcheek a bowl, but her face reddened slightly when he took it from her. Surely Crane Song will see what a fine woman Brown Deer is, Kaya thought, and soon Cutcheek would prove his worth by fishing well and bravely with with the other men. If their parents approved, the couple could marry in the autumn. That thought made Kaya's heart glad and also sad. She wanted Brown Deer to marry Cut Cheek, but she was sad to think of her sister leaving their family. She lost one sister when she had to leave Speaking Ring with the enemies. Now she felt she might be losing her other sister as well.